Hi guys, I'm Chris and this is Fiido's new e-bike. It is called the D4S. So this particular hybrid e-bike, which does have pedal power with 6 Shimano gears, it has a range of up to 80 kilometers, so they claim. And it also has a motor, of course, and this one's 250 watts. So due to local laws and EU laws, they really cannot go over 250 watts with a lot of different countries. And I've found now that riding this one and using it at that time, it does really actually give you quite a boost in terms of pedal assistance. And what I'm talking about is with the modes you have it set on, there are 3 of them, in fact 4 if you include just using it like a scooter, that you first get 25% assistance in your pedal power. It gives you back 25%, up to 50, and then even 100%. So whatever you put in, it will give you 100%, and that really does help out on the climbs. So being a hybrid here, it is also a foldable bike. So what is the weight like? So this one is 18.5 kilos, meaning that, okay, it's heavier than a normal bike. Understandable, it's got the 250 watt motor. It has our 10.4 amp hour battery pack right here. So that's why it's a little bit heavier. Now this seat can adjust up really nice and high. And even for someone my size, I'm 184 centimeters tall. It's quite good, comfortable to ride on, and the handlebars you can drop up and down as well. Now I will quickly demonstrate on camera here how you can fold it in half. So there's just a little lever here that we pull. Frame quality and build and welds are very good. And then you need to just flip this, push it around like so, and you can fit it into, say, public transport, into a train a little bit easier. And even this drops down too, the handlebar. So there's another lever here that allows us to then drop this also right down if you needed to squeeze it into, say, a car or travel somewhere, but you can put the handlebars down as well with that. So in my time using this particular bike, which is now about a week I've had it, Fiido sent it out to me to review, I've really enjoyed my time with this. I think it is a great bike for the price. Speaking of which, it does sell this one for $619 US to start with, and it will go up then to about $699. The DS4 comes packed up very well in this box, and there is some light assembly that we do have to do. We have a reflector right here, and we've got the pedals on the side, and this is our power supply for charging our battery, which does take about 7 hours. They do include the following tools here in the box, so you don't have to worry about supplying them. They supplied everything we need to assemble it. Now the power supply is 42 volts, 2 amps, and we do have an adapter here for the UK, and I have the EU plug. So this bike does fold in half, the seat goes right down, and the handlebar also folds down, so that's why it's very portable. And this is one of the attractions of a bike like this, is you can fold it up and put it into smaller spaces. So our front fork here, this is just made out of aluminium. It really would benefit from having a shock. That's probably just one area of criticism from me. I know it adds to the weight, but these roads around here are pretty bumpy. Now the disc brakes on this one, they are 160 millimeters, and it's mechanical calipers we have here, so they're not hydraulic. So they don't feel as good as the hydraulic brakes. So the only light we have here is this front headlight. It's better than nothing, but I also wish that they'd put a rear light as well in red. We only have the reflector. Now most bikes don't come with lights, of course, but this is an electric bike. I think it should have both front and rear lights, including a brake light. Would be handy and good for safety, of course. So this bike is equipped with 20-inch tires, and they are 1.75 the width of them. So they're not super skinny, but they're not fat, wide tires either. Now where we unclip the bike right here in the middle, this mechanism here is very strong. Good welds on the frame everywhere. So there's a little safety latch here that we need to pull up, and then this comes out. It's a little hard to do, and that enables us to then fold the bike in half. So right here, this is a rubber gasket that's covering the socket there to plug in and of course charge it. As mentioned, to charge this battery, it's a long time. It does take about 7 hours to charge the 374 watt hour battery. Very large battery capacity that's in this. It does come also with a kickstand, which is good to see. That means that you don't have to place the bike down anywhere, you can just stand it up, and it doesn't rattle either when you're riding. Now this front light also does house a horn in it, so when you've got the power on and you press the horn button, you will hear it. I'll give you a quick demonstration. It is very loud. So a beautiful day here, but it is very, very hot, and I will show you our controls here. So on the left hand, we've got our horn lights on. Now the heads-up display here that we do have that does display our distance, is this just a trip meter here. I can't get it to capture on camera at all, unfortunately. So right here we've got our different modes. So mode number 1 is 25% assistance, mode number 2 is 50, mode number 3 is 100%, whatever you put in with the pedal power on and off for the bike. And then over this side we do then have our gear selector. So 6 gears, Shimano 6-speed, and on the right hand side with our grip, this is our accelerator, so similar to that of like a scooter. So you pull down on this, and then that rear wheel will then get power from that 250 watt motor, so you don't even have to pedal when you use this. So it's one or the other. When you start to ride, it detects that you're riding, of course, the input from the crank, and it then knows to give you the assistance of 20 to 100%. All right, so just powered it on. Of course, you've got to get the seat and everything all set up, and I'm starting off on 6th gear just to see how it handles it in setting number 3, which is going to give me 100%. So first pedaling, nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden when you hit about 5 kilometers, you can then feel 10 kilometers, that motor then kicks in and is giving me that assistance up to 25 kilometers per hour right now, and very easy, but we'll test it later on in the climbs as well, how this works. So this bumpy road isn't ideal without any front suspension. Very bumpy going along here, but it just handles this with ease with that assistance that I'm getting from the motor. You sometimes have to put a little bit of effort in before the motor senses that you're pedaling, which is around about that 10k mark, seems to be, before it gives me any assistance here. But very good. So I'm just about to start this big climb here. So the motor yet has not sensed that I need the help. There we go, now it has. You can also pull the trigger to get that quicker. And now in the 1st gear, this is an absolute breeze, this climb. Now I normally do this in my mountain bike, and it's hard going, but this is just so easy. I feel a little bit lazy almost. I can even go up gears here to 2nd and 3rd. And I'm having to put a little bit of effort in, so I'm still getting some fitness, but just going up this so effortlessly now, this climb. Now what about braking? So I have noticed that perhaps I need more time to bed in these brakes, but compared to hydraulic calipers, hydraulic systems, this mechanical disc brake, it's okay, and it is improving, I have noticed, but you do require a little bit more pressure, and the stopping distance is a little longer than other bikes. But overall, these brakes are not too bad. I'm going to do a maximum braking in 1, 2, 3 at this post now. Not too bad for such small wheels, and it could be a little bit better, of course, with hydraulic brakes. Okay, so I'm coming up now to the end of Las Rodas Denia. On the road, this thing is very smooth, and the high tire pressures that I do have at the moment is aiding that rolling resistance. They're quite low rolling resistance tires anyway that they do have on them. And take a look at this view. Very, very nice, of course. And just coasting. Now I don't think it has regenerative braking. It looks like it doesn't. I can't feel it. I can't hear anything, so I'd say it probably doesn't. So looking at my battery indicator, I've still got somewhere between 100 and 75% battery, and that's because I've only really done about 8 kilometers or so. And that's to be expected. You've got a range of up to 80 kilometers, but that's on 25% assistance only. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the range now. Fiido claims you can get up to 80 kilometers. Now, when I had a look at the little tiny asterisk that is always there on range claims from e-scooters, e-bikes, you find that it is on a flat surface, flat road, someone that weighs 70 kilos. I'm actually 78, and they use the 1st gear. So I'm getting somewhere about 60 kilometers in range out of this one, which is, yeah, it's a little bit shorter than what their claim is. Now they're also using 25% assistant mode, and I was using 50 or 100, so that is probably why. So range wise, a little short from the claim, but it's close to it. Now you can also just use it like a scooter with the accelerator here. And often I find I do this because when you first start to pedal, especially up quite a steep hill or something, you notice it doesn't have that assistance. It doesn't boost you yet. The pedal doesn't detect until it's about 10 kilometers. Then it gives you that boost and you really do feel it. So sometimes I just accelerate and use that to start with. Once you get going, then it will detect it and go back into the pedal mode, you could say. It's got like those 4 different modes in total with this particular one here. So the build quality is very, very good. It is solid. Nothing is rattling. Nothing is falling off. Now, I did go around and just torque up every little nut and bolt and Allen key, everything with the Allen key, tighten everything up a little bit because in transit, things do loosen up with that. Now, the seat is quite big. Doesn't have any springs in it, but it is very cushy. I'm not getting a sore bottom on this at all. Fine. Even after riding for a few hours, I've done like, what is it now, about 80 kilometers on this thing. It has not been a problem. Comfort wise too, normally with the smaller wheels, these ones are 20, and there's others that have smaller wheels like 16 or 18 inch or whatever. I find that the ergonomics of it, everything's a little bit more crammed in and you get a sore back or you're hunched over a bit more. Not with this particular model. That is very, very good there. So nothing is perfect. Constructive criticism here. Where could they improve? I think design-wise, it is great. I would, however, love them to put a front shock on just for the roads around here. The roads around here are terrible. I know this is meant for cities, good roads, but the front suspension would be just so much better there. Now the brakes, in the beginning I found the brakes a little disappointing. After bedding them in now, you could say, riding and doing those kilometers, braking on them, getting them hot, they are now performing much better. I have also tweaked and adjusted them just to be a little bit tighter there, so there's no real complaint there. It's not as good as a hydraulic brake caliper, of course, being mechanical, but these disc brakes, they're working fine there now. So it does have water resistance. Charge time is 7 hours, which is a little on the slow side, but it's a relatively large capacity battery, so you would charge it overnight before you take it out anyway. So I really have enjoyed my time with this bike. I think for the price they're selling for this one, they're selling it for that $619 US. You are getting a decent e-bike here, and really, it comes recommended for me. Is this front suspension? That's the only real thing I would have loved to have seen on this. Thank you so much for watching this different review from me, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye for now.